Okay, so in this video we're gonna create a VLANs in pfSense. So as you can see, my pfSense is running here. I have the default WAN and LAN. That's from my router IP, and this is the default LAN in pfSense. And then I've created three VLANs: lab, IoT, and users. As you can see, I tagged them just something simple as 10, 20, and 30. And I put that in the IP as well, just to make it simple to identify it. Right, and then I've created three VMs just to represent these networks. So just a Kali machine, Linux Mint Cinnamon, and Linux Mint XFCE. Right, so let's go to pfSense first. Well, before we go there, if you go into the VM's hardware, you can actually see that tag there, which this VM is plugged into. Not physically. Physically, you would plug the cable into the switch with that port, and that represents that tag, or the tag ID the port ID the tag, something like that, so that the PC plugged into that port knows where to go. Right, so as you can see, oops, the tag is on each one. So let's go to console. Okay, I have this pop out here, so let's just go here. Right, let's open pfSense. It lists all those VLANs there. So the first thing you want to do is create a VLAN. You go to interfaces, assignments, and then in here you just go to VLANs. Right, there's all my free VLANs. Say add, and then here in parent interface choose LAN, because you want this to be a LAN. You give it a tag, so I'm gonna give it 40. You can give it any number you want. Right, and then just a little description of what network this is, or what it does, it's supposed to do, and save. Right, so there's your first VLAN. Now you go back to interface assignments, and it will be listed here. You just need to add it. Right, so it gives it the interface name of op4. So I just check everything is good here. Oops, WAN, you see, I made a mistake there. How did it go to WAN? Save. Right, go back to assignments, it's LAN. Then just click on the interface and make sure you enable it, because everything is off by default, maybe just for safety reasons. So the description, I'm just going to call it test again. Right, and then you want this to be a static, give it a static IP, because this is the gateway to this network. The IP you give here is the gateway IP, 192.168.40.1. right, give it a mask of 24, and that's it. Did I enable it? Yes. Save and apply. Right, so it's fully created now, but you need to enable DHCP on it still, otherwise it's not going to give any IP addresses to any machines plugged into this network. So you go to services, DHCP server. Now what's nice is they will list the new network's name here. Just click on the new network name, this test, and then enable DHCP server on this. And then you have to give it a range at least. So let's give it a range of 0.10, start at 10, 92.168.1, yeah, 40.50. So you can give it any range that you want. can start at 1, go all the way up to 255, 254. Right, and in DNS you just use the default gateway of this network, or you can give it your own DNS server IP. So you can choose your own DNS server for each network. So you can just leave that, save, and apply. So now it is active. Right, but it still won't work because by default it is blocked. So you have to create a rule. You go into firewall, rules, and then again the name will be listed there, test, and you can create a rule. So if you, this with the up arrow will list the rule first, down listed at the bottom. pfSense reads rules from the top to the bottom. So the block rule should be first. Right, so I just create a allow all rule for all of these just by default, and then I can change that anytime after. So just make everything any, IPv4, save, apply. So now it's open to all the networks and the internet. Right, so let's go to my existing VLANs. So I've created lab. This one's got all my main computers, servers and so on. Right, and then I created an IoT. This could be printers, phones, any device that access the internet that that is not, you can say that that's not computers. It's just almost like a fridge that's got internet, you know, those type of devices. Right, then I've created users. This is people that needs to connect to some of the networks here. I've created that. So let's look at lab. So lab is my main computer. I want to allow to any. I want to access any of these networks and the internet. So it's, again, just allow any rules. Just makes all of them any. Right, and then I've created, let's look at IoT. So the IoT device, I don't want to allow it access to any of these networks, even the internet. So this will be a block all. I think you can just leave, not, if you don't have any rules here, it will be blocked by default. But let's look at the rule. So it's block, and then choose the network, IoT, IPv4, protocol any, and then if you want this network to not access any of your other VLANs or LANs, it's better to create an alias. Otherwise you have to create many different rules. So I just used the RFC 1918 standard rule, but you have to create an alias for this. So all you have to do is go to firewall, aliases, and create this one rule. So let's look at this rule. Let's give it a name, RFC 1918. This is a standard, and it includes all these IP ranges. So the normal LAN IP ranges that you're familiar with. So 10.0.0, 172.16.0.0, 192.168.0.0, 8, 12, and 16. This is all the standard. So just put it in like this. This will be the RFC 1918 alias, and you can use this in your rule now. So let's go to IoT in your block rule. So it will block this network to all of those networks and a whole range of it. So all you have to do is the source, choose network, and this is the IoT network range. So 192.168.20.0, netmask 24, and then the destination. You choose address or alias. So you're going to choose the alias that you've created, which is the alias name RFC 1918, and that is that. So this network will now be blocked to all the other networks and even the internet. Right, and then in users, this is a specific rule. So I want users to access the lab but not the IoT devices. So I'm gonna block the user network, blocking it to this network. So this rule will be block user network interface name, protocol any, choose network. So this is the user network, range 30.0, netmask 24. Then the destination is network again, because you want to choose the network that it should not see. This is the IoT network's IP range 20.0, and that's that. Right, so I think this is everything. Yeah, so let's open terminal. Let's make this smaller. Open terminal and let's go to XFCE, which is the IoT network. So let's start with this one first. This one shouldn't be able to ping anything, so let's just ping google.com. Right, let's ping google.com. Let's ping google.com. So it immediately pings it, so the users can see the internet, the lab can see the internet, the IoTs can't see the internet. Okay, so this one shouldn't be able to ping anything. Let's just check the IP. So the IP is 20.10 and the user's IP is 30.11 and the lab is 10.11. So let's ping the lab 192.168.10.11. Can't ping it. Let's ping the users. Can't ping it. So it's completely blocked. The IoT device network is blocked. Right, so the users should only be able to ping the lab, which is 192.168.10.11. Yep. And not the other one, the IoT, which is 20.10. Yeah, so it can't access the IoT network. Right, and then this one, this is the lab, should be able to ping everything. It's 192.168.30.11. This is the user network. Yes. And then 20.11 is the IoT network. That's wrong, isn't it? 2011. Where is it now? 2010. 2010. Yes, so it can access the IoT users and so on. Yeah, so the rules work fine, and the VLANs are all created. Pretty easy. It's not too crazy. So yeah, that is how you create VLANs in pfSense, and you can play around with it a little. Good.